Hey everyone, I'm Texcalon. I'm a Wattson main who plays Wattson aggressively, and I am always asked how to do that. So for this video, we'll cover everything you need to know about Wattson and how to play her aggressively. Now this video will be very in-depth, and we'll cover basics such as fence placement, patterns, and how to fence certain areas of the map to turn fights in your favor, which is what Wattson is especially good at. A lot of people think of Wattson as a campy kind of legend, which, yeah, you can play her that way, but that doesn't really fit my play style, and that doesn't let you get the most out of her kit in my opinion. Wattson is all about taking control of fights, and her entire kit is designed for this, if you know how to use it properly. Below in the description are timestamps for specific clips, where I will show off how to use Wattson to turn fights in your favor, such as fencing and using her ult. Now, as Wattson, the basics are you can place 12 fence nodes and have 3 of her ult pylons down at once. Her passive allows you to get 100% ultimate charge from ultimate accelerant, so I highly recommend that you carry 2 ultimates on you at all times, and it even lets you carry 2 in one slot.
Okay, now let's talk about fence patterns. You have a basic fence, which is just 2 nodes, very simple, it's just in a straight line. Then there's the triangle fence, which is really good for portals, death totems, and some doorways. The triangle fence is really useful because if someone crosses the fence, they will most likely trip another one, which is now 30 damage just from your fences. Then there's the complicated hourglass fence, which is useful for covering 2 pathways, like this building here in Fragment. Try to get really good at planting these 3 types of fences quickly. Fast fencing is really important because there are a lot of times I throw down my fences and it catches people off guard and I'm able to trip them. Now there are some doorways you can't hide the node of your fence all the way, but that is still fine. It will still buy you time, and that goes for placing your fences everywhere, even if they are clearly visible. If the enemy is looking at your node and not at you, that is plenty of time to deal damage to them as shown here. It is very important to note that yeah, you want enemies to trip your fences, but that won't happen every time. Sometimes it is best to plant fences. You can either run and reposition to heal or just get out of a bad situation. You can also place them in gunfights if you're quick enough with them to predict the enemy's strafe and movement. This is risky, however, so only do it if you must. When it comes to fencing elevators, do not make the mistake and put your fence nodes to the side of the elevator. I see a lot of Watsons do this, and this is very bad. The reason this is bad is because this allows the person to climb up the elevator shaft and shoot the nodes. They can literally climb up the shaft and sit on the edge where the fences won't hit them. Instead, place them in the actual frame. Another tactic you use at your fences is when you land and someone beats you to the door and the loot. Here, the Wraith beats me and I see that there's a gun on the floor, so I run back out, fence the door, and run away. The Wraith runs back, opens the door to come chase me, but since my fences are there, she runs away, which allows me to run to the next area with loot. This has saved my life many times and works really well against people who land in a group and try to punch you out. You can also use this tactic when you are outnumbered to stop enemies from saving their teammates. Now let's discuss guns. You can pretty much use any gun setup you want, but this setup are the ones that works well for me. I like to use SMGs like the R99 and Volt, paired with the R31, Flatline, or Hemlock. Occasionally, I'll use the Massive or Eve shotguns with either an SMG or AR, depending on the loot I find off drop. Now, the reason I use these is because Wattson doesn't have a "oh no, I'm in danger" button like Wraith's Phase, Horizon's Gravity Lift, or Pathfinder's Grapple. If you're in a bad spot, you have to rely on movement or your fences. Having an AR on Wattson allows you to be able to help out your teammates from a safe distance while they get in the enemy's faces. Now, this doesn't mean sit back and shoot an AR all the time in a fight. You want to chip them down, make them back off so you can close the distance and fence up the area, specifically a building. Take control of the area and make the enemy team afraid of you. When fencing a building, try to extend your fences to the corners of doorways so the enemies can't shoot them. There are some doorways you can't hide the node of your fence all the way, but that's fine. It'll still buy you time, and that goes for placing your fences everywhere, even if they are clearly visible. If the enemy is looking at your node, that is plenty of time for you to deal damage, as shown here. It is very important to note that yeah, you want enemies to trip your fences, but that won't happen every time. Sometimes it is best to plant fences so you can either run and reposition to heal, or just get out of a bad situation. You can also place them in gunfights if you're quick enough with them to predict the enemy's strafe and movement. This is risky, however, so only do it if you must. In this clip, I am chasing a Wraith who I know is low on health, but to do so I have to run to her Gibraltar, who is no doubt going to try and kill me, especially since he got me low and will want to trade kills. I know I'm not winning this fight against this Gibraltar, so my options are 1, do as much damage to him and get knocked so my team can clean him up, or 2, try and run away and heal. I chose to heal here because I'm confident in my fences. I down the Wraith and quickly fence this door behind me where I know that Gibraltar has to push through. If he pushes me, I have a much larger chance of killing him, but if he respects the fences and backs off, I can heal, reload, basically do whatever I need to, like reposition. I decide to not heal after all because I hear my Pathfinder shoot him, so I quickly run out and finish off the Gibraltar. Here are a bunch of other things you can do at Wattson Fences to turn a fight in your favor. Now here, I can hear someone coming up the zip line, so I quickly try to get there. I fence it up, but it's too late, so I can't catch up with my fences. So instead I compromise and I punch him into it, which allows me to easily gun him down. Here are other fence attacks you can do which will catch your enemies off guard. If someone is blocking a door and there's another way in or out of the building, fence it, then immediately run towards the other entrance or exit, then double back. The enemy will likely leave the door they were blocking to go and block the next one you were running towards, which means you can easily run through the past door and shoot them in the back as shown here. Now this is a door fence tactic that is pretty simple but very effective. The lobe inside the building broke my lifeline shield and wants to finish the kill, but lifeline is blocking the door. I quickly run over and put a triangle fence on the door as soon as Loba is about to kick the door a second time. As soon as the door breaks down, the Loba doesn't even know my fence is there because Lifeline is standing in them, stopping them from turning on. Now this right here is important. If you are low on health or just in front of a door that someone is blocking, always fence it and stand in your fence to make it appear like there are no fences there. You want to fence quickly so they can't realize in the heat of the moment. Just like the lifeline in the video, back off from the door, and most of the time, especially if you are low on health, they will open the door to chase, but your fences will turn on and catch them, just like the Slopa here. Now we're going to talk about a tactic that will really catch your enemies off guard. To get this right, you have to be very quick with the triangle fence, so practice that. The tactic here is to catch people with your fences, and what I mean by that is having people on high ground fall down to low ground with you and right into your fences. Now people won't willingly jump into your fences, which is why you have to place them quickly. In this clip, I am fighting a squad and the Pathfinder with an EVA 8 is pushing me. I give up high ground here and quickly make a triangle fence. He falls right into it, which allows me to win the fight here. Here's another clip. Catch a Cossack in my fences. I fight a Wraith while the Cossack is shooting me from the high ground. He knows I am low, so I know he will drop down and push me. But this time, I don't have enough notes for a triangle fence, so I had to improvise. I make a basic fence in a wind-up position where I think he's going to land. The Cossack drops down to chase me, but I am waiting there with my fences that he falls right into, which allows me to take control of the fight and kill him. Now we're going to talk about Revenant, specifically enemy Revenants. Now this play is risky, so remember that this is high risk, high reward. Anytime I hear Death Totem, I immediately try to flank the team and find the totem. Once I find the totem, I put a triangle fence around it. Now look for the floating orange orbs. These tell you how many people are in it, and that's really important because you want to fence around those orbs. Once the fences are up, tell your team to send them back and shoot from afar to send them back while you and your fences are eagerly awaiting the enemies to return to their doom. Now this is pretty obvious, but whenever you see a Bangalore or Gibraltar, get ready to drop your ult. I get pushed by Wraith here, and get her low enough for her to retreat. Gibraltar bubbles himself and then drops his ult on me. Now there are two things I want to point out here. I am completely countering the Gibraltar ult with mine, but I'm also using my ult for cover. And this is what people don't really do as Wattson. You can hide behind her pylon and strafe and really save yourself in situations where there's no cover. I am peeking out, shooting, then hiding back behind my ult. Now to talk about Gibraltar and Wattson. You want to place a basic fence in Gibby's bubble, friendly or enemy, just like Wraith's portal. This immediately gives you bubble control on that side because if they peek, they will trip your fences. In this clip, the lifeline doesn't even notice me here, but she goes back into the bubble for safety, but my fences stop her. In this other clip, I retreat into the enemy bubble for cover, knowing that I can fence it and take control of this 1v2 situation. Remember, Watts is all about taking control, and this is a perfect example. I know Gibraltar is relatively low from a call out, but Bloodhound is not. With that info, I focus the Bloodhound here and get him really low, then run into the bubble. I immediately fence it, and I do so quickly that they don't even notice, and because of this, Bloodhound slides right in and backs up right into my fence, which knocks him. Gibraltar follows up, slides in from the same area, hits my fences, which allows me to shoot him easily due to the restricted movement. Now we're going to talk about legends that go well with Wattson, and Wraith is probably the best as well as Gibraltar. When Wraith portals, this goes for enemy Wraith portals as well, fence the portal. Always do a triangle fence if you have the note to do so. If not, a basic fence will work, but some terrain messes up and it will not put them in the fence. The triangle fence is always the most consistent. You want to fence portals because if a fight goes wrong and someone gets knocked, you can go back through the portal, and if the enemy chases, you can easily turn the fight on them, as shown here. In this clip, I'm waiting for Wraith to reposition us with a portal, and as soon as I make it through, I'm going to fence it up fast because the enemies know we are hurt, and they are most likely going to push us. As I'm in the portal, I'm looking at my fence nodes on the bottom left, and noticing they only have two, so I have to do a basic fence here. The second guy comes through and gets hit by the fence and panics, so he goes back through the portal, leaving us some breathing room. Now they know if they take the portal, they'll trip my fences and die, so we have plenty of time to full heal since we knocked one and the other two are on the other end of the portal. With this knowledge, we can do what Wattson does best and take control of the fight. We can take the portal back, do some damage, and return through safely without them following due to the fear of my fences. In this clip, you can really see how effective Wattson and Wraith are together. Lifeline gets knocked here, and Wraith portals her to a safe location so she can try and res. Since I am Wattson, we can afford to do this because I can fence the portal. The Wraith starts the res while I fence the portal and watch it. The enemies chase since they have the health advantage, but my fences completely ruin them as they come through the portal, and we are able to take control of the fight and kill them. Again, here's Wattson and Wraith working very well together after someone is knocked. Here's a clip of me fencing an enemy Wraith portal before taking it. I fence the portal, chase through it knowing lifeline is very low and that the Wraith is full shields but 1 health. I only challenge this knowing I have the health advantage here, otherwise I would slowly approach them and I wouldn't take the portal. I go through, knock the lifeline healing, and quickly turn on the Wraith, who after I crack, takes the portal right back into my fences waiting on the other side.
This next fence trick is a sneaky fence that will always catch your enemies off guard. In this clip, I know there is a team below, so I fence the staircase, and once I see them not on the stairs, I run to the next room for cover. The Pathfinder runs up to my door to kick it down, but my node outside is still there, so I can easily connect it to a fence on the inside, and the node will hit him. Now you can see that he is caught off guard and turns around while I sprint outside and kill him. Here's the same trick I used on a Wraith who was pushing my building. That is all I have to talk about. I hope these tips really helped you out and showed you what Wattson is really capable of. Thank you guys so much for watching.